For decades, you've worked, you've sacrificed, you've poured your energy into raising a family, doing the right thing, the best you could with what you had. And somewhere, deep down, you believed what many of us were taught to believe, that when the time came, your kids would be there, that when the world slowed down, when your body got tired, when life demanded more than you had left to give, they'd step in. Not because you asked, but because that's what family does, right? But here's what life teaches us, quietly, sometimes painfully. Your children grow up and they move away. They start families of their own. They face pressure, bills, burnout, uncertainty. And even if they love you, fiercely, truly, they might not be there when it counts. This isn't about blame. This is about truth and self-preservation. Because depending on your children is not a plan. Hope is not a safety net. And love, real love, doesn't mean losing yourself waiting to be rescued. You don't need saving. You need a life that doesn't require it. When you were growing up, it was just understood. You take care of your parents when they get old. It was the rhythm of life, like passing down a family recipe or the stories that lived around the dinner table. You saw it happen around you. Grandparents living with relatives, aunts and uncles pulling together, neighbors checking in. Family meant fallback. That was the script, and no one ever said it out loud, but the message was clear. Raise your kids right, and they'll be your safety net. Raise them with love, and they'll circle back when the time comes. It felt fair. It felt earned. But the world doesn't work like that anymore. Families aren't staying put. Kids are chasing jobs across the country or the globe. The cost of living has exploded, and so has the emotional toll. They're trying to survive in an economy that's stretched them thin, raising children of their own, navigating burnout and debt and distractions we never imagined. And it's not their fault, just like it's not yours. But the belief that they should be your plan, that's what's dangerous. Because society didn't teach us to prepare. It taught us to expect. It gave us tradition without tools. And then it changed the rules without warning. It's not your children's job to fix that. And it's not yours to carry the shame of believing what everyone told you was true. It's just time to write a new script, one built for the world you're living in, not the one you were promised. There's a kind of ache that doesn't show up on the surface. It creeps in quietly. The pause before you call, wondering if they'll pick up. The way your birthday passes with just a text. The silence after you ask for help and hear, "I'm just really swamped right now." No one talks about it much, but it's real. The weight of expecting something that never quite arrives. And it's not about money. It's not even about showing up with casseroles or paying the bills. It's emotional. It's the heartbreak of realizing you've built your hope on someone who, through no fault of their own, might not be able to carry it. That kind of hope turns into resentment. Quiet at first, then louder. You tell yourself not to take it personally, but it feels personal. After all the years you gave, your energy, your sleep, your dreams, it's hard not to feel like something is owed. But here's where it gets risky. Love and obligation aren't the same thing. And when we confuse them, everyone loses. You don't want your peace tied to someone else's capacity. You don't want your emotional stability balancing on whether your children remember to check in. That's not love. That's a trap, and it drains both sides. When your sense of worth becomes dependent on someone else's time, or their bandwidth, or their guilt, that's not connection. That's a contract no one agreed to. This isn't about hardening your heart. It's about protecting it, reclaiming it. Because what you can control isn't their behavior. It's what you build in the space where expectations used to live. So the question becomes, if not them, then what? If your safety, your peace, your future can't rest on someone else's shoulders, what do you stand on? You build, intentionally, layer by layer. Start with your health. It's the base of everything. When your body is strong, your options are wide. You don't have to run marathons or climb mountains, but you do have to move. Walk, stretch, strength train, Breathe deep. Eat real food more often than not. Prioritize sleep like it's medicine, because it is. Because if you lose your health, your independence narrows. And the more you depend physically, the more everything else, money, energy, dignity, starts to slip. Then there's your money. You don't need to be wealthy, but you do need clarity. Know what's coming in, what's going out, and what can be cut. Track every dollar like it works for you, because it does. Learn about your options. Revisit your budget. Make your financial life a space of power, not confusion. And if you're still learning, good. That means you're still growing. Next, build your circle. Not the one life handed you, the one you choose. Friends who energize you. People who see you, not just tolerate you. Volunteer. Join something. Say yes to invites. One good friend beats 10 holiday texts from relatives who don't show up. And purpose, don't forget that. Purpose doesn't mean saving the world. It means doing something that lights you up, even just a little. Teach, build, write, mentor, fix something, create. When you feel useful, you feel alive. When you feel alive, everything else is easier to carry. Finally, your mindset, maybe the most important of all. Life after 60 is filled with shifts, losses, pivots, changes you didn't ask for. But your outlook? That's yours. Every single day. Resilience isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about trusting that you are still in there, still capable, still building. Not because you have to prove anything, but because you finally have the space to build something that's fully, completely yours. There's something powerful that happens when you stop asking, will my kids take care of me? And start asking, what am I showing them about taking care of themselves? Because what if the real legacy isn't what they do for you, but what they see in you? When you live with strength, with clarity, with independence, you're not just preserving your own life, you're freeing theirs. You're saying, I raised you to build a life of your own, and I trust you to do that. That's not abandonment. That's love with boundaries. That's parenting evolved. You don't need to make them feel guilty for being busy. You don't need to remind them of every sacrifice you made. You've already lived that. You've already given that. And what if your greatest gift now is release? Let them off the hook. Not because they've earned it, but because you have. You've earned the right to live without waiting. To enjoy moments for what they are, not what they should be. To share memories, not burdens. To love without strings attached. That's where real connection happens. Not in duty, but in desire. When they call, when they visit, when they show up, it won't be out of guilt. It'll be because they want to, and that changes everything. You are not less of a parent because you don't rely on them. You're more of one because you're showing them what strength looks like, even now. Let's be real for a moment. You didn't come this far to wait around for someone else to show up. You didn't spend decades building a life, navigating setbacks, making ends meet, holding a family together, just to hand your future over to uncertainty or hope or guilt. You're not broken if your kids aren't your support system. You're not a failure. You're not forgotten. You're awake. Because once you stop waiting for someone else to rescue you, you get to do something much more powerful. You get to rescue yourself. You start choosing. You start leading. You start living. And maybe for the first time in a long time, you start designing a life that reflects you. Not your role, not your title, not someone else's expectations. Just you. Yes, it's hard. It's vulnerable to admit that the dream you once held, that your children would be your safety net, isn't guaranteed. But that admission, that's not defeat. That's the beginning of freedom. You still have time. Time to build your health into something that keeps you steady. Time to straighten out your finances and make peace with the numbers. Time to find a circle of people who see you, hear you, and show up because they want to. Time to explore purpose, not as a job, but as something that makes you feel necessary. Because you are necessary. This chapter of your life isn't a slow fade into the background. It's a re-entry into yourself. It's a reminder that you don't need to be anyone's burden to still be someone's inspiration. So let your strength be their example. Let your choices speak louder than your needs. And let this next season be one you shape with your own hands. Now, I want you to take a breath and ask yourself, gently, honestly, what are you building for yourself today? Drop it in the comments. Let's talk about it. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if this message hits home, subscribe. Because this isn't the end. This is your becoming. And it's just getting started.